It's May 15th, 2025. Sherpa Pulchen Tamang stood just below the Hillary Step, one of the deadliest choke points on Everest, staring at a man who was dying. His client, Subraata Gosh, was out of oxygen, barely able to stand, delirious and refusing to move. They were 300 vertical feet from the summit and one impossible decision away from never returning home. Pulchen begged, pulled, dragged, waited, but Subraata wouldn't move. Staying meant death for both. So Pulchen turned around and walked away. This wasn't just another failed climb. It was a warning, one that shows why Sherpas are leaving Everest. Welcome to the Silent Peaks. To understand Pulchen's decision, you need to understand who Sherpas truly are. And it's not the myth you've been told. Sherpas are an indigenous Himalayan people, regular humans with families, fears, and limits. They're not superhuman guardians. They just hide their fear well because their job demands it. Take Ang Dorje Sherpa from the 1996 disaster. When a cyclone trapped climbers high on the mountain, he climbed into the storm alone to try to reach Rob Hall and Doug Hansen. He was knocked back by hurricane winds, barely survived, and returned to camp frostbitten and devastated, blaming himself for deaths he could never have prevented. Yet despite his heroism, no one asked if he was okay. He was simply expected to be ready to risk his life again. That is the silent expectation Sherpas live under. They are human insurance policies. If something goes wrong, the Sherpa must fix it, no matter the cost. And the sacrifice goes only one way. Even legends like Ang Charing Sherpa, founder of Asian trekking and an icon of Himalayan mountaineering, are still expected to risk everything for their clients. Sherpas watch young men from their villages die, saving people who shouldn't be on the mountain in the first place, while the world barely learns their names. This system has existed for decades. Even Tenzing Norgay, the man who first summited Everest with Edmund Hillary, was pushed into the background of history for years. Sherpa contributions were minimized. Their lives were considered secondary to Western climbers' dreams. And now, Sherpas are saying enough. But before we return to that story, we need to understand what actually happened on that climb. Pulchen Tamang was an experienced Sherpa, calm and efficient. From the start, he sensed something off about Subraata, too excited, too determined to conquer Everest rather than climb it. When Subraata insisted they begin their summit push at 10 p.m. instead of midnight, Pulchen knew trouble was coming. Starting too early meant isolation, no other teams, no support, no updated conditions. Still, a Sherpa can't deny a client who refuses to listen. They climbed through the night. Subraata was slow, but moving. By sunrise, they were 1,000 feet from the summit, still hours away. Wind picked up, the ridge narrowed, conditions deteriorated. But Subraata ignored every warning sign. They reached the summit after 13 exhausting hours, far behind schedule with dangerously low oxygen. Pulchen knew the descent would be brutal and long. Then, near the Hillary Step, everything collapsed. Subraata sat down in the snow and said, "I can't see anything." Altitude-induced blindness, deadly but reversible if you descend fast. But then came the sentence that sealed both their fates. "I won't move." This is a phenomenon survival experts call give-up-itis, when the brain simply quits. Pulchen tried talking to him in English, Nepali, anything. When that failed, he tried dragging him. At 28,700 feet, where every step feels like suffocation, Pulchen spent 4 hours trying to haul Subraata down. He managed only 300 feet. He himself began dying. His oxygen almost gone, his extremities freezing, his mind slipping into hallucination, he faced the ultimate decision. Stay and both die, leave and at least one lives. After hours of trying everything humanly possible, he made the only rational choice. He turned back. He stumbled into Camp 4 barely conscious, frostbitten, incoherent. Days later, search teams found Subraata still sitting in the exact spot, frozen where he refused to move. People online called him a hero, Others called him a coward, but none of them understood the truth. He should never have been put in that position. Everest today is overrun. In 1996, fewer than 90 summited. In recent years, it has been over 650 in a single season. 2/3 of climbers now attempt Everest without ever experiencing high altitude before. Everest has become a commercial product, a mountain where money replaces skill, and Sherpas are expected to die keeping inexperienced climbers alive. Sherpas carry the weight, literally and spiritually. Everest is sacred to them. But how long can a sacred mountain remain sacred when it becomes a backdrop for bucket list selfies? Families are now telling their sons, don't become a Sherpa, do anything else. Because what happened to Subraata didn't just cost a life, it exposed a system built on unequal risk. So the question remains, did Pulchen make the right choice? Should he have stayed and died with his client? Or did he make the only decision that allowed at least one life to continue? Let me know your thoughts. Stay bold, live brave.